So let's say, for example, if you have a 3 or 4 bedder and you're trying to sell in the market, please do not tell your agent to increase your price immediately.
Yes, and we will tell you why right now.
I think when HDB owners see this news, a lot of them are very happy.
Happy.
Majority of the HDB owners, I think a lot of them are struggling to sell.
The thinking of these HDB owners will be like, hey, there will be more private properties owner who sell their private property 2-3 million. They come and buy my house. I can ketuk them 30,000, 50,000 because they got money.
If you love private property, skip this video. But if you want to live in a HDB, keep watching. Welcome back to yet another episode of Titus Honest Truth
HT. Right, so right now, if you own a private property, you might be thinking of downgrading to a HDB resale flat. This video is for you because just 2 days or 3 days ago, the government has released the news of taking away the 15 months wait out period.
So let's go straight into it. What we will go through is what actually changed, why now, who this change will benefit, and lastly, what me and Titus honestly feel about this cooling measure being taken away.
Let's go!
Okay, so just a quick recap for anyone who's not familiar with this ruling. So I think this 15-month wait out period was introduced first in September 2022, so about 4 years back.
Because in 2021, the HDB resale prices actually grew 12.7%.
Booms.
Which is very high. So definitely too high, then the government has to do something. And this is what they do. They implement a cooling measure, which is the 15 months wait out period.
Yeah, so basically if you are a private property owner, you want to buy HDB, you have to basically stay with your parents or rent another unit for 15 months before you are able to buy.
So just to also be clear, this 15 months wait out period that is removed, right, is only applicable for people who are going for resale HDB and they are not taking HDB loans. So if you are going for BTO, you are going for first time EC, right, this doesn't apply to you, right? Your waiting period will be 30 months, which we will cover later on. So which brings us to the real question, why now, right? Cooling measures usually don't get removed unless there's a reason. Has it actually done its job already? Right now, probably we are on the other side of the fence.
So from what we can see, right, the HDB market has been stabilizing the past few months, right? So if you look at the actual numbers, because this is where I think it gets quite interesting, right? So if you see from Q4 2024 to Q4 2025, basically the whole of last year, it grew by only 3.68%. So we put this into perspective, we compare Q4 2023 to Q4 2024, it grew by 9.08%.
So it came down.
Yes, correct. So basically last year, the growth was decreased almost 3 times lower as compared to the year before that.
And then of course, this year, Q1 and Q2, it experienced a 0.1% dip and a 0.3% dip. So 2 consecutive quarter of price drop. Yeah, you might feel that yes, small drop, but we are not talking about a crash, right? So after years of steadily climbing, like 7 years resale prices has been going up.
Correct.
Then first 2 quarter, it starts coming down, right? And then that's probably what actually encouraged the government to make this decision of removing this cooling measure.
Then there's also a second factor that we felt that was important, which is basically more and more flats are hitting the MOP in the coming years.
Yes.
So if you see the bar chart down here, right, in 2025, we only had about 8,000 MOP flats. But moving forward to this year, what we have is about 13,500. Then next year in 2027, we have 15,000. Then in 2 years' time, we have 19,500.
Yep.
So you can see here, progressively through the years, there will be more and more supply of resale units hitting the market.
So now removing this rule, right, Heike, the demand will come back because private owners don't need to wait.
Correct.
But yet on the other side, supply is coming up. So if demand increased by 20%, supply increased by 20%, actually shouldn't it be like price don't increase?
Yes, so it's like an equilibrium basically.
Yeah. So right now, what we're going to dive straight into it is who will benefit likely from this measure of 15 months removal and who will likely not benefit. It will just be a zero-sum game.
Correct. So I think first of all, I think when HDB owners see this news, a lot of them are very happy.
Happy.
Yeah, because why? If you ask majority of the HDB owners, I think a lot of them are struggling to sell and achieve their targeted price.
Yes.
Long gone are the days where they just put maybe $1 million, then people all come and see.
Yes.
It's very different market now. It's very, very slow because of a lack of demand.
So now with this removal, right, the thinking of these HDB owners will be like, hey, there will be more private properties owner who sell their private property 2-3 million. They come and buy my house. I can ketuk them 30,000, 50,000 because they got money. But is this true for all kind of HDB flats, right? From the smaller one, the 3-room, to the one that has the most in Singapore market, the 4-room and the 5-room and bigger.
So let's say, for example, if you have a 3 or 4 bedder and you're trying to sell in the market, please do not tell your agent to increase your price immediately.
Yes, and we will tell you why right now,
Yeah,
immediately.
so what we're going to share next is very, very important for all the 3 and 4 beders owners in the market at the moment. So if you recall, like what we mentioned earlier on the video, this cooling measure was implemented in September 2022. So by right, when this cooling measure was implemented, volume of transactions should have dropped in 2023, right, Titus?
Yes, because 1 year later, it take effect.
So, but if you look at what we have here in terms of the bar chart, these are all the transaction volume year on year for 3-room HDB. So interestingly, in 2022, you compare to 2023, the volume remains the same around 6,300. By right, it's supposed to go down because lesser demand from condo owners, right? But surprisingly, it remains the same. Then in 2024,
Went up a bit.
Yeah, with no condo demand, the number of transactions increased. Right, so by right, it should have went down, but it remained the same, and then it increased further in 2024.
Yep. So if we were to move on to 4-bedder, right, you can see similar trend. The measures was done in September 2022, right? So we use 12 months later to see the effect, right? The volume of transaction in 2022 is 11,309. 1 year after this cooling measure, the number of transactions actually still remain high, 11,357. In 2024, then it went up to slightly below 12,000. So the thing is, whether this demand for 3 and 4-bedder, right, is it from the private property owner affected? Because now they cannot buy,
Correct.
They must wait 15 months. Or is it a HDB, I would call it organic, organic kind of HDB demand, whereby you remove this private property owner demand, the organic HDB buyers still buying because it's from 2-room to 3-room, 3-room to 4-room. They are not affected by it.
So you can clearly see here when the condo owners were removed from the market, 3 and 4-bedder were not affected at all.
Not much lah.
Yeah, so but when we compare to the 5-bedder and the bigger units like the multi-gen and the executive, it shows otherwise. Right, so for the 5-room flat, you can see here in 2022, in terms of volume of transaction, it's 6.7K. The following year in 2023, it dropped to 5.8K.
Almost 1,000.
Yeah, so it's quite a significant drop if you ask me. Then in 2024, still lesser than 2022 by about 200 odd units.
Yes.
So you can clearly see here for the 5-bedder, right? This 15-month wait out has affected 5-bedder more than the 4-bedder and the 3-bedder.
So for the executive, the bigger and multi-gen, right, in 2022, once the cooling measure was implemented, we can see that 2023 and 2024, it follows the 5-bedroom kind of trend. The demand decreased because the private property owners now must wait 15 months.
Correct.
Right, but so right now when they remove it, right, will we be seeing a growth in terms of the bigger flat, in terms of demand? For the smaller flats, just now we mentioned 3 to 4, probably, in our opinion, there will not be much impact because it's quite organic. So firstly, right, HDB sellers, right, please, yes, you should celebrate a bit, but do not be over happy, right, and then say that, okay, now I want to increase price because the demand will come in for my flat. Right? In our opinion, there will be an increase in demand, but this demand is not immediate, right? If you are wondering why we say so, it's because condos sellers have to go and sell their unit first, which usually take 3 to 6 months.
Minimally.
Then after that, they will start buying. So your effect that you can feel it probably is the early part of 2027. It's not like going to be like, wow, right now I 1 million, then tomorrow, hey, agent, increase to 1.05 million. No use lah.
Don't do it, guys. Don't do it. No one will come.
So with all the CPF money coming back, all this takes time.
So the last part before we end off the video, right, is also to share with you guys what are the things that didn't change. Because a lot of people talk about the 15 months being removed, but there's also a bit of confusion on the ground. Right, so this is where we want to go through the technicalities of the rule change. So first of all, if you are a private property owner and you are buying a non-subsidized resale flat, you still need to sell off your private property.
Yes.
Just that now you have about 6 months from the date of the completion of your HDB after you have purchased it.
So you can do seamless transaction.
Correct.
Collect keys of HDB, the 6 months you must sell, but make sure the 6 months you sell reasonably.
Correct. So it's not like as though you can buy a HDB, right?
Then you got 2 houses.
Yeah, you got 2 houses. So this is not possible, okay, guys? Just to be very, very clear.
Second clarification is also what has not changed is this removal of this 15 months rule only apply to non-subsidized resale flat bought without a HDB loan. So if you are going for a subsidized flat, which is like a BTO, and you are going to resale flat using CPF housing grant, first timer, or you are using HDB loan because you want the 2.6% loan, you don't want to take a bank loan. And including you are going for EC, sorry, all this 15 months wait out period removal do not apply to you. The 30 months rule, right? You still have to wait for another 2.5 years.
Yeah, so basically in summary, you sell a private property, you want to buy a resale HDB, you cannot take grant, cannot take HDB loan, only can take bank loan. So if you have any questions with regards to your situation, whether you want to downgrade into your HDB, which HDB is the best for you, do drop a comment down below or just scan our QR code and let us know what are the troubles you are facing, and we will gladly be able to sit down and discuss with you all the possible solutions for you and your family.
So do share this with your family and friends. Do like, share, and subscribe as well. Thank you once again for watching another episode of Hiker Titus Honest Truth.
HD.
We see you in the next one.
Bye.